Banana slam jam.
Hello.
Is this the real Tom Sawyer or Sawyer Green?
It is the real Tom Sawyer. Yes, no fakes allowed.
Nice, dude. And just making sure I'm talking to the person I think I'm talking to. So let me write this down real quick. We got is the 23rd, 2:23. Start of stream. Noob coaching. I'm just kidding,
Thank you.
dude.
Thank you.
I put 5K. Okay, let's see. So let me just read your description here. It says, I've been focusing more on whether or not to fight based on objectives.
Yeah.
That's about all you gave me.
I meant to update that after because I was still trying to find out what tree play I wanted. So I told Whitney I would update it, but I never got around to it.
We do require
So
3 days worth of advance for the summary of the session. So, what are you gonna do about it? How are you gonna make it up
I
to
can
me?
tell you now.
Okay, we'll let it slide. How? What do you want? What do you want to talk about today?
I'm focusing more on like the shoving lanes. You know, like top mid, all the shit you say about all the time. Instead of just aimlessly like running at people, say, "Oh, I could kill them," and just going and do it and not getting anything off of it. Like transitioning kills and objectives, forcing TPs and going to do things. And because of that, I've kind of strayed away from like I used to play a lot of Ember and Void and stuff, and I still pick them, but I picked up Shadow Fiend because I like how he can shove lanes and then like force someone to respond and pressure a solo kill and then get an objective off of it.
Okay.
So trying to like play as aggressively on the map with a Shadow Fiend that's going some magic build, 1300 HP, you know, in a dream, and not just sitting AFK in my jungle and griefing the game by picking a farming mid laner.
Gotcha. Yeah, this meta is pretty gank heavy from the mid lane. I will say that I think people like Topson and Gunner, their playstyle just doesn't really work that well unless your teammates are enabling you to do so. Like a lot of their plays only work because the guy they're rotating to is pushing the lane or what have
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
So sadly, I would love to teach more than just pushing lanes efficiently and shit, but it doesn't really work until the highest level because
Everyone
the
knows what's
lanes
going
are
on.
the
Yeah.
grunt work, The lanes are the grunt work that
That's
just
what I
needs
say
to
to
be
my.
taken care of.
That's what I say to my buddy. I'm the maid of the game. No one
Yeah,
appreciates the
yeah,
maid.
you're clean sweeping the map, yeah, for sure. Okay, so this is like a league game or what?
Yeah, this is I think this is a 6K average league game. I don't know if you League of Lads. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
Okay, I think I have actually.
Yeah.
So let me. Do you have any comments on this game other than what you've given me, or should we go ahead and just
I
pull it up?
think I have something written down. I know this is like kind of a drawn, like not necessarily drawn, but no one's hard winning and SFV wind. And there were a couple points at which I could tell she was really afraid of me. But I didn't like get her out of the lane, you know, like she was never just not doing anything and felt really bad. And then playing the map with like the right amount of gusto when I have something that isn't a strength offlane. Like I had an Enigma, and there was a point at which we were like trying to take their bottom jungle, and I felt a little afraid going into there with an Enigma as my 3, like no one to stand in front of me.
Gotcha. Is there a reason why it says you have 5 souls, or is that? I guess that's probably just a visual
I guess
bug.
it's a replay bug, yeah.
Okay.
That should help.
Holy shit, this shit is a god.
So there's an interesting thing about mid. What's your exact MMR again?
5600 right now.
Okay. It's actually really funny. I should probably do it a bit more often. So I don't know if you saw the other day, this is like maybe 4 or 5 days ago, where somebody asked me about like their CS training score, and then I decided I was gonna like, fuck it, I'll just like go through it and see what I get. And I was playing I was playing Queen of Pain. So usually when I do that thing, I use like Jug or something because that's the
Yeah, yeah.
heroes I play. But I did Queen of Pain, and I realized that if I want to get all the CS in the first wave and the denies, that the only way I could feasibly do it was to actually auto attack the creeps forward. Like I had to auto attack like 4 times before the first creep died, which made it so that their creep died at a significantly different moment than mine.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
So the reason why I bring this up seems kind of random, but I want to talk about it. Was that I've actually seen a lot of mid. I've also played a lot of mid against, the likes of Quinn, Gunner, 747.
Yeah, yeah.
Usually they beat me. And something I've noticed also is that what they do is almost all of them in a lot of matchups will just begin by attacking the wave. It's pretty weird. I never truly understood why. I knew like pushing to some extent was good in the mid lane in most matchups, but I never truly understood why. So I'm gonna like take this opportunity to tell you that I can't really teach you much further than this because it's one of those things where when I tell you, the effect will be there's a lot of implications, like a lot of changes that it's gonna happen. Yeah. But I can tell you that like right here, your approach to like drag to your range and drag backwards and shit is actually bad for you. It's actually bad. So you're just gonna have to trust me here. And I realized so quickly when I was doing the CS training that to have control on the first wave, the only way I could accomplish it was attacking forward. It was really weird. And I can't put a description to it because the only reason I knew about it is because it's been done to me countless times. So what I want you to think about is how can I, without like ruining your own game, like push this lane into the other guy and make it so first wave, he's level 1. I'm now level 2 because I just killed the creeps before he did. He's now stuck underneath his tower and I'm like fucking with him while he's last hitting on our tower. And the reason why I bring it up here specifically, why do you think I'm like really bringing it up here?
Because I'm SF.
You're SF and he's Wind Ranger. You're a hero that pushes
Yeah.
the lane really well, and he's a hero that doesn't. So like Wind Ranger is okay, but it's not that great. So Wind Ranger is a kind of interesting hero, but I don't know her matchups too well. But like if you watch Limp as Viper today, or not Limp, who played Viper today? Koikfa as Viper. They end up losing the game, but his way of playing Viper versus Wind Ranger was to just W the wave instantly and shove it as fast as possible. Like that was his approach to the lane. And I've just noticed that when I play against like really good SFs, they're like auto attacking the way forward, and then I can't walk up because they like raise the creeps once, and then their second raise is like threatening to get 2 CS, and if I walk anywhere near it, I'm gonna get hit by it. That's like how they do it. And then they just use it. They don't actually like try to out CS me or whatever. There's a lot of heroes that can threaten the nuke, but then not use it. But with SF, they just use it because it's whatever. It's 150 damage, I think. 140.
Yeah, once you have one, yeah.
Yeah, 140. So that's all I'm gonna tell you here. I think it's a pretty big tip, but I think it's something I'm seeing here where you're actually forced to be passive because of the way you're like deciding to aggro the lane and you can't really. There's no openings here. I'm like watching this, and I can't tell you should have done this there. It's just the general approach that I want you to look at, and I think it would probably be good to watch like a couple SF lanes. I'm actually curious. We'll just take the time right now because this is just free homework for us. Let's.
Koifa played it like.
That's exactly what game I'm pulling.
Yeah.
That's exactly what game I'm pulling up, man. Okay. Let's just watch it real quick. I could be.
Sure.
I'm only doing this for 2 reasons. One, if I'm right, it's gonna be a great example. 2, I don't play a ton of SF, so if I'm specifically wrong, I know it's an exception, and I'll talk about whatever I see in this exception. So,
Sure.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna see what I expect. But hey, this is a lot of my mid information is by watching or limited experience. So, okay. Anything different about what he's doing?
He just doing whatever he wants, yeah, because Limp can't walk up.
He can't walk up, right? He actually started off by hitting
Yeah.
Limp on a raise on the range creep, right?
Yeah, when
Notice
he was
how
still
often he's
blocking.
allowed to right click. Like, notice
Yeah.
like how positioned he is in the lane. Notice how he's level 2 first, and Limp is forced to CS in her tower while he's fucking with him. It's like, yeah, both of them are CSing, but look how much he's able to fuck with the guy just based on the approach he took in the first wave, right? And it's
Yeah.
amazing how big of a difference that kind of shit makes. And if you're 5K, 6K, honestly, even if you're like 7K, if you've never seen that or been told it, I wouldn't expect you to know it. So I hope that is a bit of an eye opener. Let's go ahead and pull up.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Let's go ahead and pull up your game now. Dodo, work with me here. I guess we'll just restart client real quick. Looks like
Time to reschedule again.
Yeah, time to reschedule. Looks like it's bugging out a little bit. We gotta get rid of that while we're here. I'm glad Koikfa, you know, gave me a nice example there. Come on. Okay. Yeah, must be
He
some
didn't,
weird.
he didn't make you look like a dummy.
Yeah, that would have been funny if he like played super far back and shit.
He stands by his tower first wave.
Yeah, that would be pretty funny. So yeah, that's definitely something that I think you can tell why. I can't really teach you much further than just telling you that, yeah, you just kind of got to do it and see how it feels. Okay.
That should help.
I've noticed that when I'm, like, practiced in Heroes, or when I'm rusty on Heroes, a lot of it's actually determined by, like, say I've played the hero 80 times or something, but I haven't played him in a while. It's actually most obvious in the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game.
I would definitely agree, because that's like
it's-
your warm-up time.
It's your warm-up time, and it's also something that drastically shifts from patch to patch. Like, exactly how you're supposed to play, like, the first 3 or 4 minutes, you know, to get the ball rolling, to get, like, the early game items can vary a lot. Like, the strategy, the meta, actually, of playing the lanes changes a lot, too. Just over time, not because, like, a specific strategy is better, it just gets learned to be better. Just saying, for all you people out there, if you feel rusty, it actually could help you just play a few 1v1s. But it's like, it looks like you're playing decently aggressive past that first wave. It looks like more like once you got level 2 raise and towards your bottle. Let's pull up the CS. But you're winning by a bit. Need a tower shot there. It looks like you're just a bit off with your raises. I don't know how many games of stuff you have.
A couple more will happen. It's like my second most played hero. Not second, like 11th or something.
Okay.
But I have not actually played it since about 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Gotcha.
It's relatively new to me.
Okay. Yeah, that's just... There's nothing to really coach there. You just gotta get the exact raises down. Most SF players are SF players, you know? Like, they play 200 to 300 games of SF. But you get the idea. You're playing pretty aggressive past that first wave. Items are reasonable. Oh, you gonna do the illusion stacking?
I have unbound my select all other units hotkey for playing Arc Warden, so I mess up one. I get one of them. But not the
Okay, well,
second
yeah,
one.
you went for it.
Bounty.
Oh,
My shaker
shit,
comes to get
the
the bottle.
team-
Yeah.
The teamwork, the teamwork. Okay. So far, all this seems reasonable to me.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
What were you thinking here? Out of curiosity.
I wanted to go get the camp, but then I look at the clock and, well, I was AFK for a while. I thought I was too late thinking I want to go get the camp, and then I look at the clock and I'm saying, okay, I need to push this wave, get rune, because if I go to the camp now, it's kind of griefing.
I see.
It won't get bottle refill. So,
So
I just
do you think against Wind Ranger you have to push the wave first?
I guess not, because she has no way to depush it, and she's just gonna run to it anyway with Windrun.
So my only qualm is like you have to think about this. If you run into the Wind Ranger at the rune, like what's gonna happen?
I'll die.
Most like I would say you're more under threat than she is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you're only able to go for one rune, and it's the one she's not going for. So it's either bottom by default because you have a ward there, or it's top because you see her bottom. Right? That's like that's an important thing on mid. So like here, what I would do is I would feel perfectly fine to farm this camp before like the 745 wave.
Mhm.
But like once I'm farming the camp, if I then don't see her, I can't walk to the room. Like right, I can't do that.
Yeah, because
I
you
am
could just
like
be camping there.
yeah, she could if she's camping there and I run into her, that's only potentially bad for me. So I don't think so. This is something I would say to like a 2K where you need to focus on pushing the lane first because
Sad.
it is like a usual requirement, but as a mid laner, you can I've noticed this. I started watching for it a bit because I felt the same when I played mid. I always wanted to push the wave, and I just noticed that in certain matchups when it feels like either uncomfortable to push the wave first, or there's like efficient jungling you could be doing, you don't need to prioritize pushing the wave. The only reason that pushing the wave matters is if it gives you some sort of necessary information or it changes the rune dynamic, like who's going where, or you could actually do some like significant tower damage while they're gone, like one of those couple things. Other than that, the wave doesn't really do anything if you're intending to just farm, right? Like right now, you're just in farm mode. You're just trying to get your Yules. If you were to get like a haste rune, I'm sure you'd go do something. But aside from opportunistic runes, I'm sure you're pretty much just doing your thing. So with that in mind, this is a moment where you have like two distinct options. One, it's to walk up to the tower and hit it, or two, it's to go jungle. And that's all I think. Like that's all I'm thinking. So my option here is the one that avoids Wind Ranger. So I would lean towards jungling, but at the same time, like what if you walk up and Wind Ranger has a ward, right here and just kills you? That's a little annoying. So here, I would almost prioritize going to this camp, killing it, and then getting to here at like 745-ish, and then stacking it, and then walking this way, and if you see Wind Ranger bottom, you go here. If you see her top, if you don't see her bottom, you kind of like, you cut down. Do you see how that like makes sense?
Yeah.
Nothing can go wrong with that pattern.
Yeah.
So
she's never gonna be in triangle, and then I can go wherever she isn't.
yeah, I mean, if Wind Ranger just happens to be chilling over here, it's like, come on. Like, that's the shit where, like, I know for a fact high MMR players just be like, okay, he got me. He missed an entire creep wave. What the fuck is he doing over here? He had to, like, hope I walked up here. I think if Wind Ranger was, like, somehow chilling around here, that wouldn't be, like, too crazy just because she could be, like, farming this camp and then see you on a ward and then follow you rather than farm the camp. But, like, if you walk like this, there's just, like, no reasonable path that she would take to get over here. So, this is, like, the kind of stuff you have to think about, though. It's, like, as a 5K, I had a concession, earlier this week. I don't know if you saw it with the Alk. He's like 5.8K or something. And he's carry. So, all the things we talked about is, like, what are our options? So, we were talking about, like, the big camp pull and whether or not we push the lane and shit. And all of it that I talked to 5K players about is that they don't know what to do in regards to what happens with the opponent's decision. So if I go mid, or if I go here, or if I go here, what am I going to do based on what Wind Ranger does? You guys are pretty decent at making a choice usually here. Like, which one do you do? Obviously here you fumbled a bit, but it's not that common with 5Ks in terms of like on average, you're not going to do this very often. But what you guys don't tend to do is, like, I told them about the big camp and shit. Little things, it's like, if you go here and you see Wind Ranger walking through your ward, what are you going to do exactly? If you go here and you don't see Wind Ranger, what are you going to do? It's like, if you if you don't see Wind Ranger, are you willing to hit this tower? What does it take for you to hit this tower? You know, it's like if Wind Ranger shows top, you're going to immediately hit the tower. You guys don't tend to think like that. I'm not asking you specifically. I know you gave me an answer or whatever, but that's the kind of decision making you guys tend to lack as like a 5K, low 6K player. So I just wanted to give you my decision tree for this. It's like I don't play a shit ton of SF, but I do know his general thought. And so right here, I wouldn't overly worry about this wave. It doesn't really do anything for you from here. You see Wind Ranger, but I think you could have just walked to the rune he wasn't at anyway. Also, you have a Wraith King, so if I'm going to jungle, I'd probably prioritize going down. Looks like that's what you're doing. You're actually just going no boots, Yules, huh? Okay.
I felt like if I had boots anyway, I was dying to win. If I was out of position, so I'm just gonna get the item to let me kill her. She tries to go on.
I think you'd be surprised. I think boots will make your positioning better. I think you should probably go boots here almost every time. I think you need boots to have Yules be good anyway.
Yeah, probably.
So, I really do think you should buy boots here. I think everything you're doing is just position based anyway. And even though you think you might get, if you get caught out of position by wind, you would die. That's my argument. Would be if you have boots, it's harder to catch you out of position. So
Fair enough.
that'd be my argument. That's probably a camp I would have stacked rather than using the mana to finish it. Because like right here, you finish that camp on your way there, then you push this in, and then you go farm.
Then Raid King takes camp, yeah.
Or you notice how you... Okay, you know what's interesting? I really don't play a shit ton of SF, so this isn't like bragging. It's just... The reason why in my head, I actually had to process my own reasoning to myself here. I just think to myself, you're gonna get back here very soon. Do you notice how that happened? Like for me,
I walked back here.
Yeah, I was like, he's probably gonna go back there. So you finish this, and then you go to the next camp. All these farming patterns seem obvious. Like you're a 5K, they make sense. They're not anything crazy, but. The difference is, I knew you were going back here. I honestly, I don't always. A lot of it's instinct too, but you can start paying attention for this shit because that was just an extra 170 mana that you used. Yeah, or 100, 200, however many raises you use. That kind of shit adds up, and it just takes foresight of where you're going to be on the map. This is a good gank. Sadly, against Wind Ranger, you always have to return right away. But okay, pretty good. Pretty fast rotations here. No major complaints. Just a couple things we talked about. Yeah, no boots. Oh, it's actually interesting. I just noticed that you still don't have boots. Surprised you're playing as aggressively as you are against the Wind Ranger. You see her top now. Okay. This is good. Okay. Big slip up by Wind Ranger there, I think.
Yeah, he had already used TP to go bottom and then ran back mid and then ran back top, so I knew he couldn't be there.
Yeah, that's a 5-6K player thing for sure. If you leaving mid means the opponent mid just gets the tower, it's almost never a good rotation, unless you just can't do anything to stop them. Okay. You see a play going on? Nice. Okay. Yeah, these rotations are pretty nice. TP right back to mid, your team's taking bottom, you go pick up bounty, push it back out. Fast forward here, all this seems reasonable to me. So the beauty of SF is that when you guys are like 5K, 6K, I can tell you from my past experience of playing a lot of open quals and shit, and then I'll have random games where I lost my laning stage to like 6Ks. You know, it can happen. It's not too absurd for high MMR players to lose their laning stage to lower MMR players. But this is the part of the game where I really notice like 6K players, they just overly 5-man, and they do it in like a really awkward way. So you should walk down here like you're doing, because you're like, if there's only 2 guys here, great. But the reason why this is good for you to do this is because if there's only 2 guys, why are you going to know very soon that there's only 2 guys here?
Midwave's on their side.
Midway's on their side, and somebody on their team's going to show there, right?
Yeah.
So the idea is that the decisions in Dota that are really good, or the positions you put yourself in that are really good, are based on the obviousness of your decisions, like how obvious it is to choose, like what you're choosing between. So here by walking bottom, all I'm thinking is I look at mid on my mini map. If nobody shows, they're almost certainly bottom. And since I have a ward, I can actually wait for them to show me that they're bottom. And the second they show bottom, what am I doing?
You say more than 2 bottom?
I'm saying that, like, if okay, I guess we can go a
Sorry,
little
sorry.
deep. No, you're fine. You're fine. It's fair. I realize it's not a comprehensive question. So based on the hero you are, what kind of fight do you want?
The least amount of people.
You don't want some 4-on-4. You want like a
Yeah, I want a
3v1, 2v2,
yeah, 2 or
all that
1.
kind of shit. So based on that, if you see more than 2 people bottom, what's your thought?
We kill them.
More than 2 people bottom.
Oh,
Yeah.
I just go mid.
You go immediately mid. And if they show more than 2 bottom, or if they don't show, like if they show somebody mid, which for you is most likely what they're going to do, if they do show you somewhere else, right? That's most likely. Sometimes people do some weird shit, but that's most likely. Then you can look to do your thing bottom. So this is the thing, is you do this move. Right here, you blink mid. Like right here. You just know they're all here.
Yeah.
And there's no threat of, like, the whole point of this that these low MMR players do, when I say low, it's like the people I still play against, but they're about as low as it goes for people I play against, is they just overly 5-man and they don't realize how awkward it is to them. This is like the next step for mid-game decision making that you 5K, 6K players need to take. They need to understand, if they're going to bring 3 or 4 heroes here, that lane needs to be cleared mid. Because that lane mid is what's keeping you from being here. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if they push that into your tower, wouldn't you have to go mid?
Yes, I would very much want to be there.
You would have to go mid. So anything that happens bottom is like super fucking awkward to you. Like, if you'd be naturally walking towards mid, and then if you see something break out, you'll be like, and then you'll do what you did here, right?
Yeah.
And these are the type of situations as a 5K that you can start to just fucking shit on other 5Ks because they don't think like this at all. So in this key moment, when there's like fights that are, I call it brewing, it could be a fight, but you're not sure. It's all about those other lanes and what they mean to each team, about information, about like awkwardness, forced like nature of the engagement. And so any 7K, I don't want to say 7K, any AK player plus would know that this mid lane is like completely deciding who feels awkward here. And so for you to think like that, these moments right here, quickly identify that lane, and the second you see this information, you blink towards there, and then you get to redo the whole process again, right? If somebody shows mid, then you go back bottom. If they don't show mid, then you probably like play efficiently, farming like a camp or 2 while going back to the lane at 1640, right? The whole idea is your hero has no desire to walk into 4 heroes down here. So since we're playing a hero like that, then there's just no reason to consider it. So we see 4. You do end up going mid. I actually think this is, I'd say 5 seconds slow. That's what I would give that. 5 to 10 seconds slow. Better late than never, though. Your team is still going to continue pushing bottom. You'd be amazed, by the way, how much that 5 seconds makes a difference. About how many times you randomly died.
5 seconds before them, yeah.
But looks like you guys... Oh! That was a little scary. But he did focus fire the tower, I guess. Okay. Okay. behind these moves. I'm just watching the map.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
What did that tell you right there, by the way?
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Oh, that he blinked on me?
Yeah, like what do you know immediately?
Oh, we saw that. We saw the ward on
Okay.
on a sentry earlier.
Just making sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely knew they had vision there.
Okay,
But yeah, we pinged it out I think a little earlier and they killed the sentry.
gotcha. Yeah.
Radiant's Dire's top tower is under attack.
Now it goes downhill.
Okay, let's think about this real quick. Is there any chance your team sees this, or like, do you play with these guys a lot, or are you just like new to this team, or how does it work?
No. It was about a year I've played.
Okay.
Not necessarily with the stack, but with these people regularly.
Okay, so let's start to think like, okay. The fun thing about these sessions is one question I get asked so often is like, what makes, you know, a high divine, low immortal player different from, like, what's their step to climb? So here's a great example. You guys win a fight. Give me like everything you're thinking right now. They're dead with 3. The reason why these moments are so important for you to think is because the map is your oyster, right? Like whatever you want to fucking do with it, you can do it. So my question is, name all the things you're thinking you want to do, that need to be done, that you can do. Name everything.
Get bottom control with both the wave and the like vision. We already dewarded their vision mid, so that's not a huge priority, but we can get rid of their vision bottom, get mid wave in so that when they respawn they have to come and clear mid wave and then also like deal with our push bottom.
Okay.
We can't really find Slark or Wind, like we can't offset them by killing them because I already used ult.
Okay. So you think like kills are relatively out of the question with
kills are kind of useless.
Okay. So what you're telling me is lane clearing, right? Based
Yeah.
on the map right now, the best way to abuse them being dead is by shoving all 3 lanes.
Yeah, because then they have no vision from creeps when they're alive, and if we dewarded their map's dark.
So yeah, you can talk about objectives, you can talk about kills, but you know, you kind of gave a good example of you're the hero that starts the kills, you don't have ult, and you guys aren't really close to a viable objective. So with that being the case, then it's now time. Usually, it's like that's like the decision tree. You check those 2 things, and if neither of those feels good, then you quickly clear the lanes because it's almost always because of the way the lanes look that those 2 don't feel good. So out of all the lanes, what would you say is the safest?
Bottom.
Okay. What would you say is the most dangerous?
The middle one.
The middle one. You sure?
I mean, I guess top with their Slark and their vision, but
I'm asking
You
you.
didn't say where I
I'm
would
asking
go.
you for sure. Do you think top or mid is more dangerous?
top.
I actually think it's mid too. I was just surprised you answered top. I was surprised you answered mid. No fucking conviction, dude. So my question is, like, why would I think mid is more dangerous than top?
That's where they're gonna go when they respawn.
That's
It's
where
the
they're gonna
closest
go when they
to it.
respawn. And also, if I go top, what is that Slark thinking? Like, say you show up top, what's he thinking to himself? Like, if he sees you,
I have team behind me probably.
that your team could be there. Like,
Yeah.
what if your team pushes mid, and you're top? If he's not a dumbass, he ain't fucking going on you.
Yeah.
Right? Because your team could be there in a flash. Maybe your Lion already TP'd. Maybe your Earthshaker already TP'd. And you also know that his team can't be there for like
Yeah, it's
40
far away.
seconds, right? So in that case, because of like the dynamic of who can be where, top lane's actually safer than mid. So with that in mind, you gave me the right answer. Let's just remember that. Who goes top?
Is it Wraith King? Oh no, I walk towards top.
I'm saying if we could play this game like a good team, like a professional team, who goes top?
Gotcha. Enigma, right?
Why Enigma?
He's the one that has overt kill pressure on Slark, so he's just gonna walk away.
You don't think
You want me to go?
if bottom's the safest and top and mid's the most dangerous, who should be pushing mid? We'll start there.
Me or Wraith King?
Okay, who's the guy with the free fucking Aegis?
Wraith King.
The guy with the fucking Aegis should push around the dangerous areas, my friend. Let's not beat around the bush. He's a Blink Radiance free Aegis. You have no ultimate, and you're going for a BKB, and you're telling me there's even a close decision between who farms the most dangerous part of the map? Is that even close?
Well, I figure I could just like raise Blink away.
He literally can't die.
Free Aegis, yes. Free Aegis.
Like, he
I
can
agree.
farm their entire triangle, and if they go on him, what do you do?
And walk up to my man.
Okay, exactly. Where should the Enigma be?
Bottom, because he can shove it in pressure tower.
So what if they go on your Wraith King at the triangle when they're respawned?
We get bottom tier 2 and then outpost.
Are you, in any condition here, willing to let Wraith King die?
Oh, no. We go to him.
So who goes bottom? This is a hard question, but it actually is so important.
Is it just like my bitch lion?
Yeah, it's the most useless guy on your team. It's a fucking useless guy on your team. It's you guys get to decide who's more useless, Earthshaker or Lion. That guy goes bottom.
Alright, fair enough.
Like, you understand that though, right? Your strongest guy is
yeah.
gonna be playing mid and triangle. The guy that's like the most survivable lane clearer that can get there the quickest goes top. Your most useless piece of shit guy goes bottom. And then the guy that like the remaining two, where do they play?
To play around in the dangerous area.
They play around the Wraith King. That is like a tier 1 team map distribution play right now. You notice how that's like perfect. Like if you could script that,
yeah.
It's like mwah, right? Like the enemy team can't do shit. Like what are they gonna do? They're gonna go on your top. They're gonna go on your Lion bottom. If they go on your Lion bottom, they're losing their triangle. They're probably gonna lose tier 1 top. They might even give you a free Roche. Like they can't go fucking bottom. Like I mean they could, but that's never gonna be a good thing, right? So these are the moments where you guys as a team could literally watch this session and then watch every single game where you guys get kills and discuss this. It comes down to understanding where the most dangerous lane is, understanding the dynamics I pointed out about, like, you and Enigma can't go bottom here, and that needs to be understood, because your most strongest guy should be mid, because that's the most dangerous area. So if you can recognize the most dangerous area, that's where you put the strongest guy. And it also tells you usually where you're supposed to play after you guys get the lanes good, right? It's like, okay, if my strongest guy's mid, the next question is like kind of like, how strong is he? And I would say Wraith King should be able to play their triangle. So you talked about dewarding their jungle bottom. I actually think the dewarding should be done on their triangle right now. Like if Wraith King just runs in their triangle, I think you guys will take their triangle, no question. And, you know, we've always talked about in my sessions that, like, usually you worry about tier 2 bottom, but if you're dire, you'd rather take the triangle, because that's where Roche is.
Yeah,
you'd rather do that. So this is just something where the 5K players, they'll get all this shit done. One guy goes triangle, one guy goes top, the other two will kind of sit around mid, one guy goes bottom. But what makes you 5K is who does what. Like, that's the difference. Is you guys are actually capable of knowing where the most dangerous areas are, you know, all that kind of shit. But if you don't think about the game like this, this just becomes instinct. I don't know how to explain this. I would instantly TP top here. Like, no question. I wouldn't even think about it. I know as a mid laner or, like, some utility hero with no ultimate or, like, I'm working on an item, I'm the guy that goes top right now. Because I'm useful, but I'm not the most useful. Like, that's how I would come to that, like, instinctual decision. Do you see what I'm talking about there? Like, that general description of your guy? So the important notes are, where does the strongest guy play? Where does the useless piece of shit guy play? Usually those two, like the other three, there can be a little wiggle room there. Like, I'd say those two are the most important, though. Okay? And usually, if you're going to play 3 lanes, it's where does the strongest guy play, and then the useless piece of shit guy goes to the other lane. Like, because, the strongest guy is going to play between 2 lanes. He's going to their triangle, so it's top and mid. So the useless guy is going to go bottom. Usually, in this case, since both your supports don't have ultimate, which one would you deem more useless or more like the guy to go bottom? Who would you deem the guy to go bottom?
I'd say Lion, because Fissure's pretty good.
Okay, Fissure's pretty good. Let's just look at their items. Blink and nothing. Yeah, I'd send Lion bottom. It's like if Earthshaker was 300 gold of a blink or something, he would stay
Yeah,
here.
he goes
Or he would go
attacks it.
bottom, right?
Yeah,
Same
yeah.
thing. It's like it can be a bit shifted in balance based on if there's one guy that could like really use 400 gold or something. Because that's what he's gonna get by the time they're alive.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, they're alive. They get a blink.
yeah. So this is important for you guys. I think it's important for every 5k, 6k player. And the problem is in pubs that if one guy does this wrong, what ends up happening?
Everybody does it wrong.
At least 2, sometimes 3, 4, 5 does this wrong, okay? Like, because of the first guy. But the beauty of pubs that I've realized is that, first off, if you can recognize that it's being done wrong, that's pretty important. And it's not that you need to panic about fixing it. It's just that you shouldn't be blinking aggressively into the triangle. You should kind of gravitate towards your Wraith King who went top. That's what I would do. I would just gravitate my aggression towards the guy that's supposed to be playing aggressive. And then, but I wouldn't be ruining my game. I'd be, farming, this camp,
Yeah, yeah.
this camp along the way. That kind of thing. But then, noting that the effect of him doing it wrong is that you're still playing with him, but it's top instead of in their triangle. Which sucks, but it's better than potentially leaving yourself vulnerable to them killing you.
Better than going triangle and feeding.
Yes, exactly. I don't even know you die for sure, but I'm just saying that I could tell you that the minute I saw Wraith King go top, it made me really uncomfortable. So with that in mind, also though, in your guys' pubs, if you don't do it wrong, that's just that much higher of a percentage that it gets done right.
Yeah.
It's like just don't be the one guy. Don't be the guy that's doing it wrong. So every time I win a fight now, the advanced decision making is where's the most dangerous area and who's the strongest, and we kind of establish an order for each of those, and then we slot everybody accordingly. So yeah, this should be Wraith King. You should be Wraith King, where he is, and then you should come to your Wraith King right now, and you see how this is just infinitely better distribution.
Yeah, it's so
of
much
the same.
better if he dies once and we
And notice if your Lion's bottom and your Enigma's sitting here, they're gonna do that 80% of the time. What's Slark gonna do? He's gonna shove one wave because he knows you guys are all there, and then he's either gonna TP or walk back. Is that not what Slark's gonna do? 90%, maybe 95. If he's feeling real cheeky, he'll sit in the trees just to cut another wave, but he's not making some play. So there's a lot of trends and predictions you can make about who's doing what on the enemy team, which also can tell you why it's optimal to do it the way I talked about. But those are the type of decisions that when I lose a landing stage to 6k teams, man, do I just wait for them to do that. I actually just wait. You actually just have to wait. It's so funny. But when I've played open qualifiers and even Battle Cup, and I just know I'm playing against players that are weaker than me, and I lost the early game, I've realized I never have to do anything fancy. I'm just gonna let them fucking do that. At some point, they're gonna fuck up map distribution. It's gonna be really fucking awkward, and then they're gonna die. That's what's gonna happen. It happens in pubs too. It's just that usually, it's not as reliable to bank on them doing that because it takes them collapsing on you with 3 or 4 heroes to actually punish you. Usually, I'm in my pub and I said, guys, and SF just ran through our triangle. Can we please stop him? And then he just walks away.
Yeah, I hear that stuff a lot.
Yeah,
Why is this guy allowed to be here?
Yeah, that's me. That's me saying this situation. I see the Wraith King top, and I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? And I'm telling you, I was probably generous. I said 8k or above, so I will argue that 7k players don't really think like that either. At least in the NA server. I'm not saying that as a badge to NA. That's the only experience I got.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're pushing. Map's really awkward now. Usually when you do something like that, it takes at least 2 or 3 minutes to fix it. Your timing for BKB is heavily delayed. You guys forced them bottom. We're back to square one. Your team, okay, Wraith King gets killed. I can't see his items. Oh, he has that selection. Oh, okay. So he's going AC. What would you say Wraith King's job in this game is?
He's kind of our frontliner.
Kind of?
Our only, yeah.
He is your frontliner.
Yeah.
So every fight's gonna start with him dying, right? Like that's just literally every fight.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about this AC?
I mean, it doesn't really give him what he needs with the Underlord, Warlock, Rubik, Wind, and Slark. They don't really do like AC doesn't like. Oh, it's a really good AC game, you know.
So what would you think he needs to do his job for you?
Halberd seems decent. BKB seems probably the best option.
I'd say BKB is the only item that makes any remote amount of sense here. The blink is reasonable because that like helps you chase them around the map.
Yeah.
But if he thinks about it, his positioning on the map should always be in front, right? Like he should always be in front of you guys.
Yeah, yeah.
And they have the burst damage to kill him once, right?
Yeah, he will always die.
He
once
will
in the
always
beginning.
die once. So if that's the case as a Wraith King, when I think about Wraith King, I can't go fucking luxury items. I have to go an item that allows me to come out of fucking reincarn and not
Yeah.
just die again.
Come
And that's
second
almost
line
always
BKB.
BKB. That's like almost always
Yeah.
BKB. So this is a coaching session that I'm hoping is going to help your entire team, but sometimes you'll be this guy. You know, sometimes whatever mid hero
Yeah.
you're playing, you'll be the frontliner. And if I think if your Wraith King's alive, your entire team's kits are enabled. But if he's dead, all of you have a really awkward job in the game.
Yeah.
So like I would consider him as a carry dying, like literally ruining the game. Like it's actually ruining the game. None of you guys, you know how like sometimes you see in tournaments where like some guy gets picked off at the start and then the team that had the guy get picked off actually ends up wiping them. They'll just fight anyways. For Wraith King to die in this game, there's no semblance of fight that you guys could ever take.
Yeah.
You see that, right? Like you guys
Yeah.
can't do none of your heroes work if Wraith King's out of the picture. So him dying is like completely ruining the game for sure.
Take that.
So yeah, so this all started with one map distribution fuck up, and then your Wraith King bad items.
I think that's pretty much game after that. It might go on a bit longer, but I didn't really feel like we were ever
Yeah,
able to get
I'd say your entire map control was lost. You're against Windranger Slark, so map control is pretty fucking important because their solo kill threat is fucking massive. You can't really split anymore. You're going back for bots now. Your Wraith King's like doing some crazy ass fucking shit in the jungle. Yeah, I mean, Team Dota, there's different ways to lose games. The funny thing, I remember Kyle on panel talking about it. There's a lot of fucking ways to lose a game, but that's like the fun part, but also the agonizing part of Dota. I feel like you played the mid game or like the early to mid game, maybe first 15, 20 minutes, pretty much according to script, other than a few efficiency errors. But I think there's a reason why you guys were ahead by 3 or 4K at that point. I think overall map distribution and your play, from what I watched from your perspective, looked pretty solid. And then it just all collapses with. It seems so small, but
yeah, just
that kind of shit adds up, my friend. Like that's when top MMR players say players like Quinn are just so technical. That's the kind of shit he just never does wrong. Like you never look at Quinn on the map and say, he's not supposed to be there. Yeah, and that it adds up so much because the fact is, the higher and higher you go, the less and less times you have to do that to lose. That's just. I don't have much else to teach you from that game. Hope it was still.
No, that is quite informative.
Yeah. So you got this other one here.
It's my backup replay because the other one.
The backup replay.
Sadly.
SF again.
Yeah.
Okay.
SF again.
It looks like we got a similar lineup. Liner, Shaker. We got Jug instead of Wraith King.
His line Shaker again.
Yeah, Timber instead of. What was your offlaner? Enigma. Okay.
Yeah, Timber's Enigma.
Okay. So you're dealing with Monkey King Park. Let's check it out. How many matches did you guys like play a week together? Scrims plus matches.
I think we have 3 or 4 this week. Best of 2s.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not bad. Sounds like you guys are getting
I
some
a
good
decent amount
experience.
of comp Dota, yeah. Well, not comp Dota, but captain's mode.
Hey man, this is where I started, but you know, in terms of my competitive career, you know,
Yeah.
didn't really turn into much. Okay, so let's
What do you mean? Aren't you on Arakash?
Don't know what you're talking about. So we got Puck versus SF. Tango seem reasonable. Same idea here, you know. I think you're gonna.
Yeah,
suffer
I
the
did
same
nothing,
weakness.
so I'm double waved.
You did nothing, so you're double waved. That's
Very
the same.
cool.
That's the same lesson that will be learned twice.
Yep.
Lane's still gonna be okay. You just have 4 CS after 3 creep waves, which sucks. Super late bottle because of it. You can absolutely lose mid lane because of that. The funny thing about having a bad start on mid, like missing a bunch of CS, what does it usually do to you? It makes you spend like way more gold on regen. So
Yeah.
you're like ultra gimping yourself, right? Because you have less CS, so you have less gold to work with, and then out of the gold you have to work with, you have to spend more of it on like salves and shit. That's kind of what I noticed in mid. I'm like, God, mid lane sucks. If I fuck up, I have to pay the price in terms of, like, every CS I miss is worth 90 gold or some shit. 45 gold I missed and 45 more of regen. Okay. Yeah, I would say you're my favorite type of mid player. You're a BSJ mid player. Your first wave is really bad.
Oh, would you say I'm certified?
Yeah, I'd say that I actually realized for the longest time I would lose 90% of my mid lanes to better mid laners because I sucked for the first 2 waves. I could say with confidence if I got past the first like 2 or 3 creep waves against any good mid player, I would actually go approximately even. But I would all like if I lose, it's always the first couple creep waves. So that's just a lot of the technical stuff that comes with understanding mid. But I think the one I mentioned is actually the biggest one. A lot of it kind of is like an epiphany. It's not some fancy shit. You're like, holy shit, if I do this, suddenly this guy has to play really scared. It only took me having Sumail, Quinn, Ryoya, you know, all hitting the creeps 10 times before I realized.
Yeah.
It only took them doing that like 200 times for me to maybe finally question that's what I'm supposed to do. Okay. So, you're recovering pretty decently.
Yeah, I'm doing the whole fake him because he's got an instacast and I don't.
I end up getting level 6 before he does. That's nice. I don't really know how that happened. You don't have more denies than he does.
He killed himself.
Oh, did he? Oh!
Yeah, he fed a kill and missed a wave.
I was so busy talking to you about the fucking game, I didn't know.
Don't worry.
Unfortunate rune there.
Yeah.
So you buy boots this time, which is kind of interesting because I feel like boots against Puck is way less useful than Wind Ranger.
Yeah, because she get coiled.
Yeah, like if you're gonna die, you can't like run away from it. You just kind of die. You do go raindrops, which is good. This matchup for sure. You're against Clock, so that's a bit scary.
Yeah.
See him. You don't see him at all. Yeah. Oh, okay. You do a good job of zoning the Puck away. That was good. I was pretty surprised you walked up the river there in the first place. I don't know if you felt confident that if Clock walked behind you, you'd be fine.
Right, we were talking about TPing if the Puck on him.
Oh, so you were preemptively
Yeah, I was ready to
premeditating that. Okay. So what I a lot of times see here is that so you do. Let me talk to you about some decision making here.
Sure.
You see Puck do that, right?
Yeah, walk right.
Yeah. So what are like the 2 options for Puck?
Rotate or shove waves.
He's either gonna farm that small camp and return to mid, or go bottom.
Oh yeah, you not game wise.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Those are like the only 2 reasonable things, right?
Yeah.
You agree? So
He's not gonna take hard camp.
like what? Like there's no way Puck's gonna walk through a hard camp. That guy's not that garbage. So right now, where's Puck?
Bottom.
He's like right here.
Yeah.
Let me see how I did. Oh, I gave him way too
Wrong
much credit.
side.
He's over here. Okay.
He didn't even farm the small camp.
Yeah, he didn't even farm the small camp. So I don't know how it took him so long to get there. So with that in mind, this is the kind of stuff that, you know, if I try to teach like a 3 or 4K, I would say look at the map and what you see. As a 5K, you need to know what you don't see and what that means to you. So simply by not seeing him here, you know he's bottom. Like he just he either immediately TP top, but you have a timber, so that makes no fucking sense. or he's bottom, right? Like that's like the only two options. So with you right now, since we know he's bottom, what are your two choices?
Go there or push tower.
Yep, that's the only two reasonable choices. Anything else sucks. You right now suck. You are my mid laner where I get dove and I say, what the fuck, as I use farming medium camp.
Yeah.
It happens a lot. There's very few mid laners in the North American region that I can trust to not do this ever. It's a hard realization. It's actually pretty high level map awareness. It's super frustrating as a carry because honestly, when I watch that situation from your perspective, it is so fucking obvious that puck went bottom. It is so fucking obvious. But to me as a carry, you know, I'm not looking at that shit. I just don't see a puck for 20 seconds and I'm like, where'd he go?
Yeah.
So really important for you mid laners out there. If I can reach to like the 5k, 7k players of the NA region, because this is something you guys can all easily fix. Really think about the implied movements of your teammate, of your opponents, based on what you know you would do if you were them. It's a big deal, because you guys are beyond capable knowing that puck went bottom. Like, it is so obvious, and I didn't have to see it happen and then rewind to know it. I rewound because I watched you jungle, and I'm like, that felt super awkward. And if you're ever jungling a medium camp and a fight breaks out, I would say 80 to 90% of the time, somewhere in that like very high percentage, you could have easily known that was going to happen, and you just need to look for the where. Like, where did the game tell you that was going to happen? Because I'd say very rarely is there some like surprise thing that you're just like, oh, there's no, I just never conceived him to be bottom. You know, like there's no way he went there. It happens sometimes, but it's definitely the minority of situations. Oh, the lava cake. GG. Thank you, hon. Yeah, she brought me some lava cake. I'll have to wait a bit. So, oh, it smells so good. So, basically, that's the situation for you and anyone else that's in a pressure role, whether that's off lane, sometimes carry, is that if you feel like, man, I should be doing something better than this jungle camp, just go watch the replay back. Because at some point, the information was there. I'd say you're, what, like 25 seconds late to hitting that mid tower? Something like that. Pretty sure Puck should have either completely lost it or, you know, taken 800 more damage on that mid tower. And then you get it with this 10-minute catapult, no question. Your team has something to play around.
That jungle camp was garbage also.
Yeah, I've also seen players like Quinn when they're Storm or SF, they just see that camp and just say fuck and then walk away.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have been there in the first place, to be fair, but you know, if it's actually a reasonable camp to jungle, they'll see golems and then just say fuck it.
I had double golems spawn.
So I will tell you, as someone who has been there in terms of playing against better players, and making a bad map movement, that movement alone fucked the map for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. It really does. Because what happens is the opponent gets a free kill, they get free pressure, and literally nothing was gained on your team, right?
Yeah.
And those situations happen. You know, the higher up you go, the less often they happen, but they still happen to me sometimes. They still happen to 9k, 10k players sometimes. You know, maybe for me, I'll do it once every 5 games. You know, for them, they'll do it once every 10, 15 games. That's really the only difference. People ask me all the time, what's the difference between you and, you know, CCNC when he's playing mid? It's like, all the mistakes I make, he'll make them a third as often, or, you know, fifth as often, some shit like that. So, obviously there's mechanical skill involved when it comes to unique hero pool, but when we talk about map movements and shit, that's really all it is. The cool thing about these decisions for you guys, I say this a shit ton, but I think it always needs to be reiterated, is that you don't need to suddenly be as good as me as an AK player to like be you know, to gain any MMR. If you make that decision correctly 70% of the time instead of 50, you know, your MMR will literally skyrocket. It actually just shoots up really fast. So the funny thing about those Quakefa sessions is there are a lot of map indications that I, like when I told you Puck went off map, that I had previously never really thought about. And so for me, it made a lot of decisions that I previously struggled with really clear, because I knew what to look for. A lot of it's knowing what to look for. So I hope I can have a decent amount of more like 5K, 6K sessions, just because this is the kind of stuff I can teach you guys that I think you're lacking. But yeah, it's really about learning what to look for and then trading yourself to look for it. You'll usually start with like moments where you farm that jungle camp, and your reaction, if you ever see it, by the way, say you're farming that jungle camp, and then like you process that puck's bottom late, you need to immediately run to where you should have been.
Yeah, just
Like just
screw the
ditch it.
camp, I think there's something
Accept that you fucked up, but then do the right
Yeah.
thing 20 seconds late rather than committing to the wrong thing. I think it's really important because honestly, in the short term, it's probably bad. Like it's probably bad to ditch that medium camp and then go back mid and get nothing off of it. But you want
better
it to
for the
resemble
game.
as close to the right thing as possible because it'll fix your habits and the situation revolving around it. You'll have a better understanding of what would have happened if you showed up mid like 20 seconds earlier. Do you know what I mean? Like, because you're pushing mid and you're like, man, what could I have done with that extra 20 seconds while I'm here? You know? You get a better feel for it, too. I've realized I've, like, learned things. I'm like, yeah, if I just had 5 more seconds here, what I could have done.
Tower is
I would have gotten that tower, or I wouldn't have died to that stupid gank, or, you know, some shit like that.
Yeah.
Okay. I would say your move is really the sole responsible party for this like 500 net worth lead they have. Like obviously there's like CS and stuff going on the map, but so let's see what your team just did. I don't know what the fuck happened here. Your Timber's pushing top. Your team's smoking. Your Timber gets caught out. Your team should immediately go to you. They do. They linger. Okay, that's a classic. Okay. So for your supports, it's completely reasonable for this smoke. This smoke to me is like, okay, your Jug's farming bottom, your Timber's pressuring top, your SF's pressuring mid. We want to play with the Timber. He's really strong. He's on their aggressive side of the map. We have a good ward. The second he dies, abort, run towards SF. How long do you guys have to make a play mid?
Like 10 seconds? Maybe less?
Don't give me like a number. Give me like a description
Oh,
of how
until
much time you
someone
have.
stops showing, or until we see puck TP.
I would say until they, however long it takes them to walk from here to here. Because the majority of their team is going to get there by walking.
We'll see
right?
them all walk under
You'll
the
see them all walking there, and the amount of time you have to get away is the amount of time it takes them to walk from there to where your Lion and Earthshaker is. So it's like linger. Okay, they're walking towards us. They should be like backing on the map, you know, just towards you. That's what they should be doing.
Behind the tree.
I mean, it's like to what? You know, like I'm just giving you. It's fine, whatever they think they're doing, but I'm just trying to give the right answer so we can make sure we're on the same page. So like here, they should just gravitate towards you, because if anybody shows up now mid, they would actually just die instantly. Like whoever it is, like say they were to TP clock to set up on you or something, you're lying. You just like impale finger him and you double raise him and he's gonna die. So that's why they're supposed to gravitate towards you, because the amount of time they have is like directly related to the traveling of the opponent team. So if they're lingering towards you, that's fine. And then, if by the time the enemy team gets to mid, nothing happens, okay, failed smoke gank, but it's a Timber, right? Timber dies, that's it. On Timber's side, if the team's calling to smoke to him, he just has to learn his limits. It's usually griefing smokes pretty hard if you die like that on Timber, but we've all core players have been there. Any core player remotely trying to be competitive player has been in that spot. So now there's really no pressure to create top. Your Timber Saw is done. It would take, how long do you think it would take for him to reinstate pressure top?
Probably 2, 3, 4 minutes.
2, 3, 4 minutes. It would take at least 2. I'd say 2 is probably a safe bet. So at that point, Timber's done top. So who gets top job?
Jug. Tower's gone. Or me?
It's or you. And who gets priority?
Jug. If he wants it, he's got it.
If he wants it, he's got it. Otherwise, it's you. So the kind of communication that goes on here is you saying, Jug, do you want top farm? Something like that. You can use it in pubs too.
Relatively soon.
I'm just saying that if he wants top farm, where should you go?
Bottom?
But like, give me more detailed description.
Oh, away from him.
Away from him. If you're gonna fight, where is it gonna be?
With my team.
So where is that gonna be?
In the mid lane.
Okay. So I think Timbersaw's decision to go mid is reasonable here. So any decision you make, you should be somewhat near mid, and you should be ready to TP at the very least. So you're like walking towards bottom, and the reason why you're not going triangle is because that's where Jug is like gonna have his backup place. Also, in these type of spots, if nobody goes, oops, I don't know what I just did here. I think I clicked a number button and selected Monkey King. If nobody goes bottom at all, like say Jug TP's away from bottom. Okay, it does a fucking hard game. Okay, so if Jug TP's away from bottom and goes top, and you go triangle, tell me what happens on the map in like a minute and a half.
Joe goes top, I go triangle, our wave gets put in, and then I have to go down there with no vision from
And then
creeps.
what's the opponent team do?
They're just sitting in the trees waiting
They're either down here or where?
on my Jug, top.
They're either smoking into the triangle or waiting for you bottom,
Yeah,
right? So that's why that's actually why it's so important to have somebody that like relieves pressure on the dead lane. So this is an example of map distribution where I think it's fine that your Timber came mid. So it's Jug or your top, like one of you goes top, one of you stays bottom, but Jug has priority, and the guy who plays bottom has to play like a puss because you're against Clock, Legion, Puck, Tree,
Puck,
Monkey King.
yeah,
right?
everything.
So your main purpose of being bottom is so that like it's actually infinitely better for you to be like on this hill farming this big camp ready to clear the wave than like walking from mid, because if you're here you would have seen anybody who like walked there, right? But if you're walking from mid, you're kind of just playing it blind. It's just important to understand that this bottom lane can't be ditched for like a minute and a half. You know, somebody has to be there. But you definitely should not be mid with your Timber. You should be... This is a situation where you're ready to be mid, but not actually mid. But they make a move on your Jug, and you elect to pressure this. So this is a situation where this just looks so forced to me. I can't believe they're letting you have it. Okay, they let you have it, though. I don't think it's terrible. Once they make a move on your Jug with Hook, I think that was fine. So the fact that you were like around mid ready to be with your team, that was probably reasonable. Your Timber TP'd back mid. Okay, you're waiting.
Radiant's bottom tower's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, you guys are literally just sitting ducks.
Under attack.
How do I even talk to you guys about this? This shit's hard, man.
Dire's middle tower is under
It's hard to describe because, yeah, it just ain't easy. Okay. So, the reason why it's specifically difficult in this game is because they have a lot of pickoff. They have, like a guy that scouts. They have 2 BKB piercing disables. They have like another guy that's really mobile and can scout. And they have another guy that's super mobile. So in this case, your supports have to like pick and choose, and this is where like the dead lane kind of comes in. So what I mean by the dead lane earlier as opposed to now is that like earlier it was in play, but the longer the game goes on, the more killable everyone is. That's just kind of how it goes. They get
Their
more
jump gets a lot
levels.
scarier.
Yeah. So you guys just can't show in 3 lanes right now. It's like Timber should be mid, Jug should be farming triangle, you should be pushing top. And my question is, why do you think it's so hard to like know what the opponent's doing right now? Like I have no fucking clue what they're doing. Like look at the map, right? Do you have any fucking clue?
Yeah, no one has shown. They have like tree roots to push out waves, then orb to push out waves. So we just never see them. Yeah,
so like how do you know what to do in these situations? Like how do you know what they're doing in these type of situations?
I guess I could expect them to be bottom because that's just like the quote unquote way to do it, like where you want to go take bottom.
No, but like if bottom lane's pushed in solo by Legion and then you just die to Clock Monkey King, like what does that what does the map do?
It's gone.
You guys are just fucked. So that's actually not an
destroyed.
okay assumption. Like you can't do that. So there's really no assumptions to be made at this time. The only time you have to start making assumptions is when you're down by like 10,000 net worth, and nothing your team can do in your power would ever tell you anything. Like you're just so far behind that the opponent can just do whatever the fuck they want, and you kind of just have to risk that they're not doing whatever you care about, right? So that's why in competitive right now, you'll see a lot of teams, even like Team Nigma and stuff, when they're losing, suddenly the kill score is just like 30-8 because they've been split pushing the like as 3 lanes, trying to do everything they can to dodge fights, and they're just getting picked off left and right. Because if you're far enough behind, it snowballs, just like in the laning stage where you miss CS and you have to spend more gold on regen. It's like the further behind you are, the less you can fight them, and the less you can fight them, the less you can actually force anything on your own, which means you can't really dictate the movements of the opponent, which means more and more they can do whatever the fuck they want, which means they can just kill you more and more, and then suddenly the kill score is like 30-8, you know? It's a very big snowbally thing. But so, if we don't know where they are, what do you think I'm getting at? How do you know where they are? How do you figure it out? What can you guys do?
Just bring everyone somewhere.
Go pressure something.
Yeah. Just
Right?
go run it top tier 2.
Yes,
with
so
everybody.
the way this works is you have to push top, and every single game, I could give you an exact solution. It's probably Timber pushing mid, it's probably Jug farming triangle behind you guys, and it's probably Shaker sitting behind you, and then it's probably Lion fucking gank tanking. Like, that's like the only thing you guys can do. Like, what other orientation is okay? Whoever walks tops is gonna die, even Timbersaw. Like,
Yeah.
So if I can't think of anybody who's gonna like be on the front, like the Wraith King game, that's when you institute the gank tankers. You know, that's when you institute who's the fucking frontline
Who's
soldier that
taking
we
it,
just
yeah.
who we just throw into the battle and die. That it's sad, but the idea here is when the enemy team has a lot of pick off and a lot of off map heroes, you have to force them to show themselves. Like, you just have to. You have to force them. It all stems from you guys forcing shit. So if you'll hear me on stream sometimes, I'll say shit like, if we don't push this lane, this game is unplayable. And this is exactly where this like thought stems from. If you guys don't push top together in some meaningful like way that it can get done, like it has to get done, then you're gonna like you just can't do anything. There's really nothing else you guys can do. And the only reason I say top is because mid's not pressurable, bottom's obviously not pressurable. Top is like the best, like dead concept, right? Usually it's the off lane that's the most viable pressure option. So that's just what needs to be done. So you guys as a team, the only way this will ever get fixed, sadly, is if all 5 of you actually understand that lane needs to get pushed, and anything that's being done on the map that jeopardizes that is just wrong. So it's like, you need to push top. If your Jug's bottom, he needs to know he's on his own little fucking island. He's getting zero fucking help. And if he's going bottom there, like, it's his decision, knowing literally nobody's going to go to save him. There's no SOS distress calls. He's going to fucking die if they go on him.
I tell people that a lot. I'm not TPing if you die on
that needs to be understood by the guy that goes bottom, whoever it is. Sometimes you have a carry who thinks he's unkillable. Sometimes you have like a 5 position who just wants some levels and he's willing to trade 2 creep waves for level, for a death.
Yeah.
But all it needs to be understood is whoever goes bottom is on their fucking own. So on Jug's case, since I'm against Legion Clock, Tree, I'm probably farming Triangle, right? Like, I'm against heroes that kill me, I'm farming Triangle. And in the case of this one, you put your least likely, hardest person to kill mid. Same idea as the other game. But generally speaking, since you're getting so much pick off, I would lean towards whoever's your long-range nuker. I will say that having 3 cores that show on lanes to clear what creeps against Legion, Clock, Monkey King, Puck is probably a bad draft. Like, this is something that you can understand about drafting, is this stage in the game, if, like, how much do their heroes punish you showing on creep waves? That's, like, a pretty big deal. Honestly, I think their draft edge comes from having Puck, who can orb from a distance, and having Tree, who can
they just
waves.
delete waves without even showing.
Because you guys have Lion Earthshaker, so you guys punish people who show on creep waves, and they have Puck, Legion, Clock. So both teams punish it. One team has ways to reliably clear creeps from far. For you guys, like Timbersaw would be Shockerming mid from a distance, and you 3 would be top with Lion or Shaker gank tanking. So that's like, how this needs to get played. At the end of the day, anything other than that, you guys are actually just sitting ducks. Like, I look at this map and I'm like, there's nothing else you guys can do. Somebody's gonna fucking die. I don't know who, but somebody. And your team choosing to go bottom is like, that ain't gonna fix anything. That's exactly where the opponent is. Like, that's where if they kill you guys, they also get something off of it. You know?
Yeah, if they kill us top, it's a little harder.
It's not good if they kill you top, but if you guys are on the right page here, the Teth's top is Lion getting gank tanked, and then you guys backing off, and if they kill your Lion with 3 heroes top, what do you guys do?
Just go push other ways because I'm very happy with that.
You guys instantly push both other waves, at least 1 or 2 creep waves, and then you go back to pushing top again. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because they go and save the other ones, and then we can bring it back.
Yep, it's back and forth. It's this map movement shit that you guys just you 7Ks and below, you just don't fucking get it, man. You just don't fucking get it. And whenever I'm playing my pubs and I got my rank 400 Immortal players, 7K MMR or less, this is the kind of shit where I'm like, isn't it fucking obvious? And I realize it's not obvious, but like to somebody who has a pretty decent competitive experience, I also get to talk to a lot of players. To me it's obvious, but I didn't fucking come up with this shit on my own, so I can't really expect you guys to either. So you're in the right place, which is nice, and you even get a kill on Monkey King, which is nice. But for whatever reason, your team is insistent upon dedicating resources to bottom, which is just absolutely not the play. If you guys have like a Dusa, this might be the way to play. By the way, a lot of this will be dictated by the guys on your team who are going to carry you. So the mid or carry. Like, I'll actually be honest. Some people may say, BSJ, some games I see you playing bottom all the time. Well, if my carry is like a fucking Dusa or an Alk, yeah, I'll play bottom because I just need to defend shit. And they'll farm triangle and we're chill with nothing in the map happening.
Big time.
But you guys have a Jug. That hero only wants to play bottom if he's unkillable. That's the only time Jug wants to play bottom. And the funny thing about this is, to me, that's super fucking obvious. But to the viewer at home, maybe that I get that's not. So, something to go even more in depth about this, Dota's not an easy game, is that every hero you have on your team comp will dictate which way you go about it. It's like bottom means we are holding the door, ho door. They are not getting bottom tier 2 or mid tier 1. That is what we are doing. And that's okay with us. But like, a lot of times that's dependent upon where the people on your team, like what heroes like to farm where. But also, like, do you guys feel comfortable sitting next to your towers and letting them go on you? In some games, yeah, you do. Like, you have some guy that just stands in front and they go on him and you're chilling. But in this game, I don't think that you want that. I don't think you guys want to sit underneath your towers waiting for them to go on you. I think you'd rather play top, and if any of them show alone, your Lion just fucking bursts them, right? It's interesting, but those are the two viable options when you're on the map like this and you're not sure what to do. It's ho door bottom or pressure top. That's it. That's like the only two feasible ways to play the map. There's no really other options. So one play stems from forcing them to top so that you can then safely push the bottom 2 lanes. The other way is to safely defend the bottom 2 lanes just so they can't advance on your triangle. Like, that's what you're doing. So
Gotcha.
Anywhere in between, I maybe there's somewhere in between, but for me, I don't think there is. There's a lot of different ways to go about it. Dota ain't that simple. Like, who goes where and all that kind of shit. Yes, but you guys as a team, you guys can get better at this. Like, exactly whose role is what, how you conceptually approach that. Yeah, I mean, this is just like the classic, we see things because we don't see things.
Yeah, classic, no one's showing, let's go for the kill anyway.
Yeah, oh, this guy's right in front of us and none of his team's there. He's probably alone. Crappa. He's a fucking guy. So, that's not much to say about that one. We've all done it. Been there, done that.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
So you definitely have to walk bottom here.
Prize is this?
You do walk bottom. Okay. That was good.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Okay. Let me eat a piece of my cake.
Go for it, dude, don't worry.
Yeah. So, how recent was this game? I actually didn't look.
This week, pretty sure.
Okay. 218? That's 5 days ago? Okay. So I guess why I ask is I kind of want to know what like is fresh in your mind. Do you have
Yeah,
like
yeah,
any
very fresh.
do you have any remote clue of like the comms or anything that's like going on in a
Right here.
situation like this? Like what the team's thinking or anything like that?
Can you move camera to mid?
Sure.
I knew they were smoked bottom. Like I called, they're definitely smoked bottom. I'm gonna clear the wave and chill. I think he was just trying to pressure wave, or like we'll get waves in and just let Jug farm, and if they show bottom, maybe Roche. But I called they were smoked, and I'm gonna just clear bottom and chill. Pretty much, that's what I remember.
Do you remember anything that your teammates said? If you don't, it's fine, but like that makes sense from your perspective.
I
Like,
think Timber.
do you guys remember thinking you're ahead, behind, you're feeling
Oh,
good?
in general, we felt very afraid and behind. Due to their comp, and we knew we were behind because I think Monkey had Battle Fury early-ish.
Okay, so you felt a bit rushed because he had
Yeah,
Battle Fury.
We felt we were behind, and we're like Monkey's getting close to Ags, guys. Like, what's the play? What are we doing? Because we didn't have this this directive.
Okay.
We were pretty much on the let's get waves out and try to get Jug on equal or close to equal farm with Monkey.
Do you
maybe
feel like you're invading them or they're invading
they're
you?
definitely invading us?
Okay. This is so this is like I want to remind people that if you're like 4 or 5K, you can absolutely apply this shit to your pubs. Like all this shit I'm talking about individually, but it's important you guys understand the team shit. So I just want to emphasize once again that if you know their bottom, let's just take your perspective. Fog Radiant. If you see this, let's not even know. Let's act like we don't know they're smoked. Like, where are they? Like, when I say where are they, the general maximum area that they could be in.
The triangle and bottom.
Like they're like right here, right?
Yeah.
What's like the only other reasonable option?
Roche.
They don't have Ags on Monkey King yet, so I don't think that's viable.
They could be smoking into triangle.
I think they could be 5-man smoking into triangle, or camping like Legion +1 right here.
Yeah, waiting for someone to show on the wave.
But it wouldn't be like 5 people, right? It'd be like Legion
One.
+1 that would be sitting up here. So if their only viable map orientation is 5-man smoking here, 5-man smoking here, just playing here, or while having like 2 heroes sit top, what is your guys' only move to like do anything here?
Shove the mid in.
So carefully shoving mid seems reasonable, but
We could smoke the top, get vision up, have someone clear the way with like Chakram.
abso-fucking-lutely, dude. There is no orientation in this game where they are sitting 5
We're
here.
gonna run into all of them, yeah.
So when you're scared and they have a lot of pickoff and you don't know what to do, you run 5 or 4 or whatever to the place on the map that they're not going to be. And you just get out there. When I say they're not going to be there, they could be 1 or 2 heroes there. That's not crazy.
Yeah.
They're not going to be sitting there as 5. Like, go to the place where there's only 1 or 2 of them. And then you just fucking smoke there. That is never the fucking triangle. Like, I can just tell you that your team moving here is so god-awfully low-skilled, it blows my mind. Like, this is so bad. I'm like, holy shit, I'm watching this. I'll see it in my pubs. I'll fucking have Jenkins on my team or some shit, and he's just this fucking Mars, and he just walks with their triangle and feeds. And I'm like, what the fuck is Jenkins doing, man? Like, this guy makes fucking educational videos, and he's just walking in my pubs and ruining it, like, whatever. So, my point being, okay, is that it all stems from Hodor or pressure top.
Yeah.
Like, that's all it is. You're content to sit 4 or 5 bottom, or you're content to sit 4 or 5 top. And when I say sit 4 or 5 top, if you aren't currently controlling top, you have to send 4 or 5 people there. Do you know what I mean?
You can't bring anything less than that.
Yeah, once you get ward vision, once you feel somewhat safe on Jug to farm the top lane, or whatever, then yeah, you can leave one hero there, put 3 heroes mid, one guy triangle or whatever. But until you guys establish control of top, or you feel content defending bottom and mid while also farming triangle, there's just no other reasonable option. Everything else on the map is fucking garbage. Like, it's literally just garbage. Like, anything you guys do over here is garbage. If you want to, like, 4-man smoke here, when would your smoke often be here?
If we see somebody top.
How about, that's true maybe, but how about if you're in Hodor situation?
We've got some
A lot of times your
juice,
smokes might be down here. Because
Yeah.
that's like where you're wanting to get out to, right? Like if you're in Hodor situation and you boot them out of your own jungle, that just extends that duration.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. They're
right?
not doing it.
That's exact. They're not going to accomplish anything. But if you're in the jug split push pressure mode, you need to break out into the top half of the map and get them out of there, right? And the thing is, like, based on what I see here, because you don't have wards, they're effectively playing 3 lanes. Because you're scared to go
everywhere.
bottom, you're scared to go top, and obviously it's mid. You know, mid's dangerous.
Yeah, mid's always spooky.
So this is the kind of stuff where, you know, if Puck goes bottom and you're jungling a medium camp, the thing about that is Puck is effectively defending mid tower and ganking your safe lane.
Mm-hmm.
Because these are the things that she should have to be there for to get done, right? Like, if she's not mid, she should be losing her tower. If she's not bottom, nobody should be dying. But by you not pressuring mid, you're giving them 2 things. And it's the same thing here, where they're getting control of both side lanes without having to actually do anything.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, the understanding that was required to make these moves is this map feels like shit. Like that, it's literally that. It's self-awareness and recognition. Like, this map feels like garbage.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, I have reformed my approach, but this is just brutal honesty. From my experience in NA, we have this situation on the map and people just want to farm, man. It's like, can we just make one fucking move, get out on the map, and then we can go hit some creeps? That move could literally just be smoking to their jungle, plopping 2 wards down, have absolutely nothing fucking happen. We go back to farming and everything's fine. But
and it's so much better because you just get.
It's so much better.
Yeah.
But that move is my problem with the overall like 7 to 6K hero pool or player pool in this region. And my actual issue with the region is that because there's so few players, we don't have enough games that consistently get players above that caliber. I really think the main difference between EU and NA that I've realized is that there's so many players above 8K in EU that you don't get this shit in your games. The problem is the problem is if you have 1 or 2 players like this on your team that don't realize this, it actually just ruins the fucking game. It really does. And so I've actually realized that this is the kind of shit I really need you guys to learn. Please, for the region, guys, learn this shit. If the map feels like absolute fucking garbage, and it's usually against like heavy pickoff, that's usually when it feels like this. The worst, usually around like 15 to 20 minutes if they have a lot of pickoff. The legions of the world. Nobody can move out on the map solo. This shit has to be like, where would you move solo? Now bring 4 there. You know? Like, that's what you gotta do. And then once you get some good vision, once you feel like you're controlling at least 1 lane, that's when you can look to split up a little bit, farm a bit, because even though they have pickoff, at least at that point, you're going to be pressuring something. You're going to get a little bit of information about who on their team's defending top. Like you said, maybe if they TP somebody top, you could call for a smoke into your own jungle. You know, that kind of stuff. But like them showing top is the only information you're ever going to fucking get that's relevant to you. Like mid lane, like somebody on their team's going to push it, but usually it'll be just like the fact that it's Legion's pretty bad, but I guess there's 2 people dead, so it's fine. Like it's pretty much always going to be like Puck mid, and it's like
Monkey,
it's like, what does a Puck mid tell you? You know,
nothing.
like,
He's gonna get there.
It doesn't tell you anything, right? So by not pushing top, you're gathering absolutely no information, and then because your heroes don't naturally defend bottom, there's like nothing else for you guys to fucking do on the map. So this is the kind of stuff that you 6K, 7Ks need to learn. It extends all the way down. You know, you're what, like low Immortal? That's like
like 3,500.
Yeah. So this is what you guys are missing. And it really, the funny thing about this, my goal moving forward here, it's nice that I've gotten a couple more coaching sessions that are like pretty high MMR. Once it's brought to your attention, it's really not that fucking hard.
Yeah,
You guys know it. You guys know you want to play top, but yet somehow we end up in this endless fuck of like running bottom with 3 and then running their triangle with 3, and then it's like, guys, no. It's like if you were winning, that's what you would be doing. That's what your lineup would be doing if it's winning. It's like we're invading their triangle. We're killing them like whenever they go bottom. You know, that's what you would be doing if you're winning. But you don't feel like, let's not, this is for like the 2K players out there. Let's not define this as winning or losing. It's, do you feel good about the map? That's when you're like, I'm doing whatever the fuck I want. And then you like, you run into their triangle. That's how I feel on the map, But, and you know what I mean by that. Any like 4K plus player will know what I mean by I'm feeling fucking good on the map right now. Like that, you guys know what that means. So if that's the feeling, then go invade them or some shit. But this is invading. Down here is invading. Up here, this is invading. This is meant to be yours. Like that's just it's meant to be yours. So like they should have to be invading you guys up here. Last thing they should be getting is like free random kills down here. Something to consider is if you guys have Lion Shaker, your offlaner should likely be like an Underlord or even like a Nature's Prophet, or what about these heroes is relevant? What type of heroes am I listing? Underlord and Prophet.
They can get around the map and they can clear stuff.
They farm the dead lane, my friend. Usually every lineup needs one. You need one. They have Tree Puck, you guys have 0. It's like, so the funny thing about dead lane farmers is that is Jug a dead lane farmer, yes or no?
Sometimes.
Oh, you answered right. That's hype.
You gave it away well.
Situationally, if he can spin TP, he's a dead lane farmer, right? It's like
Not
if I'm
in the
Slark,
league,
if I can Dark Pack pounce away, I'm a dead lane farmer.
Yeah.
But if I'm PL, if I can doppelganger away, I'm a dead lane farmer. If I'm Terrorblade and I can send illusions down lane and not get worried about invading in the jungle, I'm a dead lane farmer. But
You're
like,
not scared of being there, it's your job.
what?
If you're not afraid of being there. Like,
Yeah, exactly. If you're not afraid of being there, right?
Oh, I'm not afraid, then you're
Yeah, that's the thing about core like carry heroes. But like if you have like an Underlord and he's sitting underneath the fucking tower, it's not like situational. That's what the hero fucking does.
Yeah. He's never gonna
supports like Tree, Phoenix, Wyvern.
Yeah, it's literally just a hero.
That's like what their hero functions by sitting really far back and clearing the wave. Like that's what those heroes do. So that's what I mean by dead lane farmers for all the noobs out there. But for you guys, you can consider this in your draft. Some drafts are as simple as who plays the map better with their heroes. And so in this game, I would almost always lean towards their draft because yours is harder to play. Like yours could be played. I'm not saying your draft is shit, but in regards to simplicity of who goes where, it's not simple at all. You kind of have like 3 lane showing cores against a bunch of pickoff. And then you have, instead of defensive supports to save you guys, you have aggressive supports. So it's not like a terrible draft, but it's just not straightforward. So hopefully, as a team, after this session, you guys can watch and be like, now BSJ mentions straightforward. Now, let's take our 6K brains, put them together, and figure out what that means to us for straightforward. And just try it. Actually try it. I think this concept can be done on your heroes. But I think if you were to just give yourself like one guy that's predominantly ever going to play bottom, one guy that's going to like nuke out mid from a safe distance, one guy that's going to look to pressure top, and then one defensive guy and one aggressive guy that play off map. Like if you drafted that in kind of like pseudo considered laning matchups, I think you'd have I think it'd be interesting to see like what happened to your map movements at this stage, like 15 to 25.
Yeah.
It's interesting because in drafting each individual, you have to consider all of these moments in the game. That's like the part that's crazy to me is like, I look at the game as maybe 0 to 5 minutes, and then maybe 5 to 10 to 12-ish, and then maybe 12 to 18, and then like 18 to like 30. Those are like the windows I look at the game. I think when if I were to ask tier 1 players, it would probably be even more specific or even more generic, but there would be more categories to cover. Meaning like there's just things they think about in a draft or like things that need to be done in
Yeah.
a game that I don't even know. But for me, those are the things I think about. And the fact is, with every single draft, with every single pick you go for, those stages need to be considered. It's like, who show like if I see Legion and I see none of my heroes willing to show on wave, I know if I don't pick a hero that willingly or safely clears waves from a distance or doesn't mind showing on lanes, that our draft is going to be really hard to play from like 15 to 25 minutes
Yeah,
into the
mid
game.
game's gonna be really
I
scary.
know it's going to
'cause-
be real awkward. The second he gets blink, I don't really know what we do other than 4-man. Like
Yeah.
that's all we got. That's the kind of
Makes
stuff
a
that
lot
you
of
can start to think about as a team, since you guys are in a team. Do you have any final questions? We have hit about the time here.
No, that's a lot, honestly.
Yeah, so I'd say for you individually, you do spend a lot of time with your team, so I think I don't feel bad for myself to focus a little bit on your team
No,
plays.
this
But for
fine.
you individually, I really want you to focus. Yes, you're going to talk to your team about this. Like, yes, I want you guys to discuss a bit of the drafting and stuff, but really focus on your role in these things. It's gonna be slow, meaning like it's like every little example in a game you're gonna be fucking up, but the goal is that you realize you're fucking up, and then catching yourself and then trying to fix it slow. Meaning you did it late or whatever.
Yeah.
That's like the first step, and I think it's gonna be similar to my Koikfa sessions, where you're gonna notice a lot of things you didn't notice before, but your MMR is not really gonna go up. Because you're not going to be able to apply the level of knowledge you got. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I have to work into it
You have
instead
to
of just
work. Yeah, you have to work your way into it. Basically, I got coached by some guy that's like 10k MMR, and
I watch him.
I'm trying to apply 10k concepts, and I'm not a 10k player yet. So, for me, it doesn't always work out the way I want it to. So for you, I'm giving you some like 8 or 9k level concepts, and you're just 5k right now. So you're gonna have to meet your pace of decision making, and foresight is going to have to catch up to the knowledge you've just gained, and that's going to take some time. So, yeah. You said no other questions?
How was the cake?
Oh, it's still about halfway there. It's pretty good. It's this chocolate lava cake stuff that like little melty in the middle and stuff.
Oh, all
It's
right,
nice.
all right. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's nice stuff. But
No, that's all.
yeah, thanks for signing up, man. It was a nice session.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
See ya.